chanting that. But tonight, I mean, or last night, I think everyone, or at least I've seen other people kind of saying it sucked, but yeah, that crowd just made the show and that main event so much better. I mean, I don't know if it was because, and you might hate me comparing this, but it might have been Hogan and Corbin what really set the crowd going because when Corbin and Hogan had that stare down for a few seconds, the crowd just jumped and popped big time for it.
Yeah, and they're also in
That kind of
Corbin's
set the crowd
hometown as
afire.
well. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that had to do anything with the main event being
Oh, were
so,
they?
yeah, it's so super hyped. But yeah, it was a really, really good show. And like Bob Ruski said, fans like
Oh,
us
right.
aren't just going to stop supporting Shorty G just because they changed his name. I mean, props to him. And even Paige, like, on, I don't know if anybody caught it. I didn't
That's
watch
it.
backstage after SmackDown last night. I watched it today, actually, when I got home from work. And they're talking about Shorty G. And she mentions his outfit, and she's like, poor guy. And she's like, caught herself when she said it. I was like, wow. And then they're not holding back on the whole Shorty G attire change. But yeah, I mean, he's doing the best he can with it. And props to Gable for being able to get it over. Mr. AEW says the 5-on-5 teams from Crown Jewel look like dorks. They're trying to pump up this 5-on-5 thing, and all I can think is these guys standing next to them look like a bunch of dorks. Shorty G is wearing some cheap basketball uniform. Ali is dressed like Prince. Reigns is Reigns. Corbin looks like he's wearing a phoned-in Hollywood costume. Sammy is a pipsqueak, and there's the Japanese guy that can't talk or open his eyes. I have no plans of watching Crown Jewel. Damn, Jesus. I'm not really sure how what I'm going to be doing for Crown Jewel since it does fall on Halloween, but I'll probably try to catch some of it as much as I can. It's a very, very long show, so we'll see. Paige ripped on Seth's catchphrase, "Burn it down." She called it boring and some more shit. Really? When was that? Was that this past episode or the episode?
Yeah, I think so. One of the episodes, I remember saying that was stupid.
I'm
Like,
glad that
or
they're
no,
more
was it
open
this
and
week?
honest on the WWE backstage show. I'd rather them be that way than them just being super corporate and
Yeah, it
stuff
doesn't
like
seem
that.
like they're holding back. It seems like they're being allowed to
Oh,
express
last
their
night she did.
opinion.
I must have missed that then. I must have missed that. I did kind
Um,
of fast forward through some parts. I will not lie. Go ahead.
I liked it because to me they're missing they're having a missed opportunity with this show. I think because to me the perfect spot I know they can't probably because they might have football on that night or what, but the perfect opportunity would be to have backstage follow SmackDown every week because it felt when they had Roman Reigns get interviewed before he got beat up, it felt kind of like a post game show almost,
Hmm.
where you get a live react. It felt like the Talking Smack days in a way, and I kind of liked it and I dug it, and I thought the show was fun. I like some of the aspects of the show. I don't like some of the aspects of the show as well too. I mean, it's still growing. I don't know. I think it's going to do terrible in the ratings when it airs at 11
Did
o'clock on a
SmackDown ratings
Tuesday
come
night.
out today? I did not look if the
No,
SmackDown ratings
that will
came
be
out.
like sometime Monday because it's
Okay.
the cable ratings for Fridays.
Okay. I'm just curious to see how they did last night,
Yeah,
especially
me
against the
too.
World
I'm
Series.
intrigued. See if
And on
Hogan and
FS1 as well. If it came on
yeah,
after SmackDown, it would steal the little viewers that 205 Live has left from them. Nah, that's a good point. That is very true. The biggest shame of the whole who attacked Roman angle was the death of Bryan's heel run. He was a pure gold as heel and was the best character on the roster. Hard to disagree with you on there, but I think, like Dave said, maybe Fox is. It seems like what Fox wants, Fox is getting. And if
yep.
Daniel Bryan, if Fox wants more of a Daniel Bryan face turn of getting that yes movement back in line, then I would have to assume that's going to probably go down.
And
Uh,
I could be wrong, but I think this was the best SmackDown that we've had.
it was a pretty solid SmackDown. I don't know about the best. I can't, and
I
since the
mean,
move, possibly, but it was
you know what?
definitely the best second hour that they've had since moving over to
Uh,
Fox. That's
Fair.
for sure.
And I think for all the crap he's taken for taking over, I think he's done a pretty good job the last couple of weeks. If you ask people, can say the ratings were bad.
Pritchard, you're talking about?
Yeah, I think Bruce Pritchard's done a good job for the show so
Yeah, for the
far.
most part, he's done a pretty
I mean,
pretty
who knows?
solid job.
Maybe it's Vince more than
Who
Pritchard
knows?
because
Yeah,
Vince has final say in everything.
we honestly will never know. To be honest with you, but overall thoughts on SmackDown before we move to this big Jim Ross controversy.
I thought it was a good show. I mean, the tag match was okay. It was interesting that you had New Day getting a title shot, but yet they lost. So will that change? Will it turn some kind of triple threat now? I don't
Yeah,
know.
waste of a tag match. Waste of a tag match.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, good point there. Good point. I thought SmackDown was
Oh,
overall pretty solid. Second hour was really good. First hour, not so much. So if you recorded it, just watch the second hour.
okay, here's a new thing I want us to start doing on this show on Saturdays. If you had to pick one match from SmackDown to tell somebody to go back and watch, I think a lot of people disagree with them. Go back and watch the main event.
Yes, I would agree with you on that. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure Bray's going to start feuding with The Miz, and there's a lot they can do with that. That is true. They could be setting that up, too, as well.
Miz. Way to downgrade him.
All right, let's get into Jim Ross, everybody. Because Jim Ross this past week had some interesting words to say about Seth Rollins because of his whole comment towards Kenny Omega, where he was asked a question about him, I believe, and he kind of paraphrased it around where if he ever gets away from the minor leagues, maybe one day they can have a match together. Well, Jim Ross, who is employed by AEW and is also a commentator for AEW, did not really take too kindly of those words from Seth Rollins. So let's play the audio from Jim Ross, and then we'll get your guys' comments on what you thought what he had to say. All right, and let's go.
No, maybe someday he'll be as over as he's in a great spot. He's blessed. Maybe someday he'll be as over as his girlfriend. I don't know.
Oh.
But nonetheless, I've always liked his work. He's a solid guy. But saying things like that make him look bad, and for that I feel badly. I just do. So it's just a different world. You can't mix all the different rules, the metaphors, and all apples and oranges, and all those crazy ass cliches, man. It's a different structure. So for anybody to say, "Hey, look, here's the thing I find incredulous about this deal." One of the things he says, "Well, when you're through playing in the minor leagues," ironically, Mr. Khan's got more money than Vince, but nonetheless, that's another story for another day. We believe that we're on a great network in TNT, and we think we have a chance to build a nice brand. You never heard from me ever, Conrad, even when we're drinking, say we're going to kick WWE's ass.
Oh, no, never.
It's stupid.
Well, but at the...
Okay, so there you go. You hear Jim Ross defending AEW for the most part. He has AEW on his back, and he's defending them in this I guess competition or war, if you want to call it, between WWE and AEW, and going after Seth Rollins. Kind of. Well, Becky Lynch, I don't have the tweet up like I do with the Jim Cornette one that was showing, but Becky Lynch, I guess, came to his rescue this today, and I saw people saying, "Oh, she's fighting Seth's battle and all this." Well, she was mentioned in the comment, so did you expect her not to say anything? Plus, they are engaged to get married. Did you expect her to keep her mouth closed? Probably not, especially the way she really kind of has no filter. Well, today, Becky Lynch came on Twitter and added Jim Ross saying, "Nothing but respect to JR. You're an amazing announcer. So go down to the locker room and announce that I would whoop your whole women's division any day of the week and twice on Sundays." Jim Ross kind of backtracked this week and said that he shouldn't have said what he did, and he should probably keep things more professional and not really open his mouth as much as he has been doing these last couple of weeks towards wrestlers or the WWE, any way you want to say it. So, first off, we'll get into the chat room in just a second, but what were your thoughts on this, Dave, when Jim Ross said this about Seth Rollins? And granted, a lot of people these past couple of months have not really seen eye to eye with Seth Rollins for the most part. Your thoughts?
I mean, I was telling you before we went on air, I've been listening to JR's podcast, and he does really stand up a lot. AEW really seems like a homer with it, and it does become a little bit obvious on the podcast that he's Mister. Sorry, but you're losing your name. But he is really the real Mr. AEW. And to bring in Mr. Khan has more money than Vince McMahon technically. I mean, it's like he took offense to that saying, Rollins saying that come over to when you get done with the minor league, which that was just to rile up fans. That's all Seth Rollins was doing, to rile up those fans. And it worked. And guess what? Everyone's talking about his comments. Even JR did it on his podcast, talking about what Rollins said. And Rollins is probably really out there. What he's doing is he's working people. So possibly even trying to work an angle with Kenny Omega if something happens where they happen to cross paths in the next few years.
I think what Rollins is doing is just stirring the pot to get to people to possibly tune in to WWE. That they, I dislike Rollins this much that I'm going to watch, hopefully Rollins fell on Raw or whatever have you. It's just, he's just playing everyone like a fiddle.
And to talk about Becky, now this thing with Becky, now it's funny because he didn't really say nothing bad about Becky, but then when he even quotes her tweet and all and saying she's the best superstar, most over superstar in WWE right now. Mm-hmm. And he's not wrong. And it's almost like Seth is kind of taking her persona in a way on Twitter lately because he's kind of doing all the Will Ospreay stuff. He did talk about that too. He talked about the Will Ospreay stuff, and now with AEW airing weekly now, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I think it's funny. And Becky Lynch, even Dave Meltzer commented on the Becky Lynch thing.
Oh, what did good old Dave say?
Oh, he just said that she does Twitter really well. And look, I'm sorry. She's not wrong. I'm going to get heat for this, but she's not wrong. You can't tell me, look, okay, you want to say, guess what, guys? Wrestling, the AEW, it's all a work. So if Becky Lynch was in AEW as Becky Lynch right now, she'd be the biggest star in that women's division. There's no one in that women's division that's a bigger star than Becky Lynch.
Oh, well, yeah, at the moment, no, there's not.
So she would be booked to probably beat everybody.
Right, and Seth Rollins is kind of playing up to what JR said too, tweeting out saying, "Come hang out with me and my super over fiance" over on Twitter. So
yeah, he's doing some pride thing or something.
We don't know what's going on. It's like they said, they're doing what they should be doing, taking kind of friendly shots at each other. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that's annoying are the AEW and the WWE fans that don't know how to take it. They take it overboard on some sort of things.
It's war. It's not a war.
Let's see. J.R. King and Morrow should be replaced, in my opinion. Damn, Morrow? Really? You're not a fan of Morrow anymore, Bob Ruski? I'm not even sure if you've been a fan of Morrow in the past. Morrow, I don't mind Morrow, but when he starts doing the rap, starting rap songs into the show and doing all that stuff, I don't like that. The references to other things. He does it, he's way overboard on it. When he just calls a match, like the match he did with the triple threat match, that was good. He didn't do, he's hip-hopping around like a bunny or some shit like that. You know how he does his little references that he does? He was just calling the match. He did the Mamma Mia spot. But it was worth the Mamma Mia. It wasn't like it was a drop kick or something. It was the big spot with the Keith Lee and all of them. But he does go overboard at times. And JR is just not in tune with the product at all. Yeah,
I think Morrow's by far, hey for this too, I think Morrow is by far probably one of the best commentators out there right now. And I think he might be better than JR in commentary. But it's funny. I agree with what Bob Ruski's saying to a certain point, because I've said it for months and months on this show about Morrow's commentary on the takeovers. Like, it seems too rehearsed and too forced when he's doing all these big spots, or you even see videos they show him jumping up and down and all that. I think that's pretty bad. Yeah. To me, it feels forced with Morrow.
God damn. Shit. Damn, y'all are so brutal tonight. He does
I
write
like
down
that.
lines before the shows. I think I wouldn't doubt it. Especially when he does those little rap references. I would not doubt it.
I'm not talking about that, but it's like when he does those stupid Mamma Mias and all that, because they seem like, oh, Mamma Mia. It gets so annoying.
Yeah, he gets overboard now.